Hello Rumworth School. Just thought I'd better have a few words with you before we close down for the summer holiday. I know a lot of you have not been in school since we had to shut down just before Easter because of the virus, and things have been very difficult and hard for all of us during that time. I am really proud of the way that you've all dealt with the very difficult situation, and thank you parents and carers for doing such a wonderful job looking after your young people. Unfortunately, things are not going to be quite the same in September too. We've had guidance from the government and the staff have been working really hard to get things ready for when we do return. Everybody returns in September, but things will be very different. We will be sending out a letter to all parents so that you will understand the changes, and also Miss Dawson's going to put some bits of information on the school website that you can look at and start to understand the sorts of things that will be different for us in September. The things that will be exactly the same in September is that we'll all be really pleased to see the students returning. We're all looking forward to working with you individually, and we're all looking forward to being able to get you to be the fantastic young people working hard, being kind and fair to each other, and we will be proud of everything that you do. Enjoy your summer holiday.
Hi Rumworth. I hope that the students and all of your parents and carers and families are safe and well. I hope that you have been working hard and helping out at home, Rumworth students, and I hope that everyone is looking forward to the summer holidays. Mr. Johnson has asked me to share some information with you all about school and what it will look like in September. I know that he's told you lots of things will be the same, but we have had to change some things because the government have asked all schools to make some changes, and that's to keep everybody safe. So let's have a little look at some things for Rumworth. Let me just see if I can share my screen with you. Okay, so in September 2020, when we come back to school, what will it be like? The first thing that's had to change is the school day. So we are changing the start time and the finish time for school. The government have asked schools to look at staggered starts, that means people coming in at different times, and trying to avoid being in the rush hour. Now, lots of you come on school transport and they do arrive at slightly different times, and to keep people not in the rush hour, we are starting a little bit later. So from September, school will start at 9 o'clock every day. What we will then do is we will finish earlier. So we will finish at 2:10. Lessons will finish at 2:10 every day. And then staff will bring you downstairs and school transport buses will start to leave probably from about 20 past to 2. This means that our independent travellers who don't catch school transport are not in the rush hour on public transport, and it also means that you all spend less time on school transport buses together. Okay. So those school day changes, it does mean that you will get the same amount of learning time. And what we've done is we've taken out some time because you're going to move around school less. The government want people in school to try and stay in a group, in the same room. You might have heard this word bubble, but they want us to try and move around less. The other reason that we've had to change the school day is that we need our building and all our rooms to have a lot more deep cleaning. And we need time for that cleaning. So we will still open for 5 days. Some schools are choosing not to open for a day or an afternoon. We will still do 5 days, but we will finish a little bit earlier for each of those 5 days. So let's have a look at the actual routine then. What's going to happen? In the mornings, buses, transport buses, will drop you off at the back, on the backyard, not at the front. The reason that we're doing this is we can't have all the students coming through the same door at the same time when we're trying to keep people a bit separate, keep bubbles, not all mixing up together. So transport buses will drop off at the back. Other students who come independently by themselves or are brought by parents will go to the side gate. That's the side gate near the Year 7 yard. And the reception entrance at the main entrance to school will only be for staff from now on in the mornings and at the end of the day. When you come to school, you would know that we have a breakfast club, and that is still going to happen. It won't be in the gallery because that would be too squashed up. It would be too many people in the same space. So it will happen in the hall on the long dining tables. It won't happen for the first 2 days in September when you come back, but it will be on from Monday the 7th of September. So you're going to need to make sure on those first 2 days that you have breakfast at home, please. This is because Phil and the kitchen team are going to need to do a really massive deep clean of the kitchen and all the facilities before we start catering for hot meals and breakfasts and so on. We've also got hand washing and hand gel to think about. So when you arrive at school, staff will help you, and there will be hand washing for everyone when you get here. And that's going to happen lots of times during the day as well. Certainly there'll be regular times when you're in your class spaces when staff are asking you to wash your hands before lunch, after the toilet, before you go home. And we've got some new hand gel stations around school. And I'm sure you've been really good at this at home, practicing, putting your hand gel on, helping to kill that virus, okay, because we don't want people getting poorly. For the first 2 days back, it will only be current Rumworth students, not the new year sixes. So you will be with your current class when you come back in September for those 2 days. And there won't be any hot lunches on those 2 days. So if you normally bring a packed lunch, that's fine. If you normally have a school dinner, you will still have a school dinner, but it will be a cold meal. And again, this is because Phil and his team need to deep clean the kitchen and get all of the cooking facilities really, really sparkly clean, ready for Monday the 7th. New groups. I know everybody always wants to know which new class they're in and so on. And this year it is unusual, we're not all together. So we will be telling everybody during those 2 days what your new group is. So you'll come back with your current class and your current class teacher will let you all know in September who your new group is and who your new teacher is. And they will transition you across to that new group. So you'll then see your new room. Some of you might be in the same room. Some of you might have the same teacher, some of you might be with some of the same people. Some of you might have changed key stages, but families, please don't worry. Our staff will manage that with the children when everybody is back in September. So we will then have 2 weeks of what we call own groups. The government have asked that schools try as far as they can to keep students in the same room in their own group, and we're going to do that for the first 2 weeks. And we will run some kind of timetable. After that, we do have to see how things go and what the government guidance is, but we are hoping that we will be able to move around and go to our specialist rooms, so art in an art space, science in a science space and so on, once we've got everybody back in and we all know the new routines and we're all really good at keeping safe and following instructions. You will go to your new form rooms on that Monday, as I've said, and then from then you will be with that new staff group and you will be with your new class, and you'll know who they are because you'll have met them, you'll have been introduced to them during that first 2 days in school. I mentioned that word bubbles earlier. I'm sure you've heard quite a bit of this if you've seen things on the news, and for us we've got 3 bubbles. We're having 1 bubble for each key stage, so that's key stage 3, which is year 7 and 8 and 9. Our year 7 students do have their own landing. So they will still be on their own landing, but they form part of the Key Stage 3 bubble for their teachers and their lessons. And then we've got, so let me just think about the staffing so that you remember. It's Mrs. Fowler who looks after Year 7. So she's our senior leader who does Year 7. And then we have got Miss Roberts looking after the Key Stage 3, Year 8, 9 part of Key Stage 3. And then Mr. Sherborne is looking after Key Stage 4. And I am looking after Key Stage 5 because Mrs. Haslam is going to be helping out at Lifebridge. Mrs. Haslam is going to be acting as the head of the Lifebridge Centre for us for the next year. So while she's doing that, I'm helping out with sixth form. So in school, each of our bubbles has its own room, and when you do come back to school, things will be in different places. So year 7 are where they are still, but when you come back, we'll talk about it. We've had to do what we call zoning. We've had to arrange the rooms so that as much as possible, the year 8, 9 rooms are all together. The Key Stage 4 rooms are all together and the Key Stage 5 rooms are all together. And that's meant that we've had to move quite a bit of furniture around so that you can all have a set of rooms near each other in school. Again, making sure that you're moving around as little as possible, because the less we move around, the more chance there is of everybody staying safe. So classrooms are going to look a little bit different. The government have asked that we set out all our classroom tables in rows facing the front, and that's really strange for us at Rumworth. It's not something that you see in our classrooms usually. Some rooms use that sometimes, but now all our classrooms have to use that all the time. So we've had lots of staff in school over the last 2 weeks moving furniture around and setting up rooms following those government instructions. They've also asked that as far as possible we have equipment for you to use just for you. So you won't need to bring things of your own in September, but you may find that you've got your own little equipment tray or wallet or something, so that you don't need to share a pen with someone or a pencil with someone or colours and so on. There will be some things that you might need to share, like a laptop, because we haven't got a magic money tree and we don't have a laptop for everybody. And if it's something that you need to share, then there will be wipes and those things will be cleaned before people use them, so that you know that you're keeping things nice and clean and safe, and hopefully we're not passing that virus or any other germs from one person to another. They've also asked that we try and minimise the moving between rooms. That means there will be not much moving between rooms. That's going to be really quite strange for some of you, and hopefully you're going to work really hard at getting that right with your staff team, because it's really quite strange for us too. It's going to be a new way of working for all of us, isn't it? Structure of the day. So once we're in school and we're up and running after the first couple of days, what have we got? So we'll still have registration in the morning for 15 minutes and we'll still have 6 lessons. What we then have is a separate eating time and a separate outside time for each of our key stages. This is because we need to keep the bubbles as separate as we can do. So the times that you have your lunch might be a bit different, and the times that you go outside might be a bit different. We will be using different bits of the school for eating because we need to space you all out, but don't worry, we can tell you and show you where you'll be having your lunch when you come back to school in September. Lessons. So I hope this cheers you up, but we have tried really, really hard and all the subjects on our timetable will happen. Some of them may look a little bit different. So PE might look a bit different because there are some government suggestions, rules around things that we can and can't do, and we're following those over the summer. But for the time being, we can't use the changing rooms. So it is going to be the case that on PE days, you'll come in kit, and it might be, instead of having a double lesson, you have a single lesson of PE. It might be that if you are in year 7, you still have a technology lesson, but you might be doing some making and painting rather than some cooking, because we're trying to keep the specialist rooms also in those bubbles for the time being. All the exam subjects in Key Stage 4 and 5 are running because they have to, because it's really important that you all carry on working hard and that you get your accreditation. Uniform. Yes, please. So if you are in Key Stage 3 and 4, then please come in your school uniform. Please don't panic, parents, carers, if there is something that you've not been able to sort out. We have a really simple uniform and we can sort it in September with you. We would like you, please, to make sure that all your uniform items have your name written on the label, or if you've got those fancy name labels, that they're stitched in. We have over 200 students who might have a blue jumper on, and it's much easier to give it back to the right person if it's got the name in it. It would also be brilliant, please, if everybody, including sixth form, could come to school with an outdoor coat. So that when you go outside, because you will need to go outside for fresh air time, there's no moaning about it being a bit too chilly. So please put an outdoor coat on when you come. Even if it's sunny in the morning, it can be rainy by the time it's outside time. And please could you make sure that if you're bringing a bag to school, it's a bag that can be wiped clean, and also that your lunchbox is something else that can be wiped clean. Your parents and carers might want to wipe down your things when you come home from school, and it's much easier if something gets spilled in school if it's something that we can wipe down nice and easily. Home time. So just like happens now, staff will bring you down at the end of the day, and buses will leave from the back. Other students who are independent travellers or are being collected by parents and carers will leave by the side gate that they came in from. We were asking please for parents to wait outside the side gate, and can they socially distance. We're not marking the pavement out or anything like that, but we're hoping that all adults who are collecting a child from school will socially distance themselves, please, to keep us all safe. Reviewing things. We've had really hefty documents from the government that we've had to look at, like all schools have, and we will be reviewing constantly to make it work. We try really hard to get it right for our students and families, and we'll carry on doing that. For the time being, there won't be any after school care, but we will consult on that and see if it's needed in the new school year. In the meantime, we've got the summer holidays, and school will be closed for everyone, me included, and Mr. Johnson and all the staff team. So we have some building work going on site, and they're inserting some new cabling for our alarm system. So the Rumworth School building is most definitely shut for everyone. There won't be any online lessons because it is your summer holiday, and there won't be any phone calls from your class teachers because it is their summer holiday. I think everybody's done an amazing job keeping things ticking over in a really strange time, and I think that everybody deserves a break. So I'm really hoping that you're all going to stay safe and that you have fun and that you take care, and see you in September.